midfield. Leeds Rhinos have defended their crown.
And what a moment for Halifax Rugby League.
Austin is through and Warrington dominating. Great try for the Robins. Huddersfield Giants take the points home. Henderson is a poor lad. That is one sensational try.
Look out with a drop goal. Leeds gather round in jubilation.
He's hit the post. It's Wellesby. Wellesby might have got the try. St Helens are champions once again.
Well, good evening and welcome to the last tackle. And after a brutal rivals round in the Betfred Super League, we've just about got our breath back and we're ready to do it all again in a double round, a double week of Betfred Super League action. Joining me this week, Andrew Henderson, Warrington Wolves assistant coach, and your boys had to sit out the weekend, Hendo, after some COVID issues at Catalans, but you know, a great weekend of rugby league.
Oh, fantastic weekend of rugby league. The rivals round really lived up to what its tag was, wasn't it? Its name tag there. So, yeah, look, I thought there was some great contests. I mean, we were disappointed. We were really geared up to get a response after a disappointing result away to Wakefield. We wanted the short turnaround to get fired back into the Catalan Dragons, but unfortunately some COVID cases came out there on the day of the game, so we had to miss out. But like I said, as we're about to see with the highlights here, there's some tasty fixtures through this rivals round and some great results as well.
Yeah, that is one way of putting it. It was a fantastic weekend of games and it really caught fire on Friday night, one of the most famous rivalries in rugby league, Wigan versus St Helens.
Roby spins the pass out, Coote over the top, and Grace! Regan Grace! The ball shipped on to Wormsley. Wormsley managing to offload, ball quickly over the top. Oh, what a pickup from Grace. Grace, little chip kick into space. And back there's Partington to do the sweeping up. Oh, stolen from him. Stolen from him by Lewis Dodd. Chris Kendall's going to go to the video ref to see if there were two in the tackle or whether Dodd has picked Partington's pocket, and Chris Kendall reckons he has.
Is there a hand on him?
Matty Lees, isn't it?
No, the ball's gone. The ball's gone.
Lewis Dodd, what a piece of quick thinking to get the second try of the night, surely for St Helens. His third of the season. Supporters are certainly in good cheer. Lomax, here is Coote now. Coote, long ball for Grace. Grace back on the infield, and Percival! Mark Percival finishes that move off. Here is Matty Lees. Only making his 8th appearance of the season, another player who's had to come back from injury, so he's got plenty in the tank. So has Wormsley! So has big Alex Wormsley! And Wormsley wraps it up.
Yeah, on the scoreboard, quite a comfortable win for Saints in the end,
Yeah.
Hendo, but a real kind of visceral, tasty game of rugby league. Fantastic to have the crowd in for that as well. They're the games those rivalries and those derby games are what we've been missing, aren't they?
Oh,
in front of
absolutely.
Like that.
No, absolutely, Lewis. I mean, it was great. The fans, obviously, both sets of fans were buying into it. And again, there was some real big collisions without the contest. It got tasty at times. There was a bit of niggle. You could argue maybe one player went a little bit over the top at times. But look, it had all the sort of ingredients, didn't it, of a derby match. But Saints, for me, obviously, I thought they were very controlled in their performance. I felt they defensively were very, very good. I mean, there's a reason why they're the best defensive team in the competition. I think they're conceding just under, on average, 10 points a game at the moment. And obviously they made it very, very difficult again for Wigan to score points. So I thought defensively Saints were superb. And I just thought, in what was greasy conditions, it was tough conditions. I thought some of their ball control and some of their execution of skill was really good on the night. I've been impressed by young Lewis Dodd. I think he's showing some really maturity, signs of maturity, and some good signs since coming into the Saints side. I think he's been blooded well, and I think he's doing a really, really good job for them. But again, I think from Wigan's perspective, they may be a little disappointed that they're just not scoring points, are they? They're just finding it difficult to break the oppositions down. I think they're showing plenty of character and there's plenty of attitude there and effort, but they just need to somehow come up with an attacking formula to start scoring more points at the moment for me.
I think the player you're probably alluding to there was Willie Isa. He's come out today to be fair to him, made a statement apologising for his part in that game. But it just struck me watching it that maybe what Wigan were lacking was kind of maybe a Sean O'Loughlin figure on the field to just calm it all down, settle it, and just keep heads kind of screwed on and just keep the nerves down a little bit.
Hey, that's a really good point, Lewis. I think you're probably right there. I think probably Wigan let the emotion of the derby get the better of them, and that's the fine line when you're going into a derby game. There is a lot of emotion surrounding the game for obvious reasons, and it's being able to control that emotion. It's yes, use it to fuel you to some degree, but don't let it take control and consume you as well as a team. And I probably feel that the emotion consumed that Wigan side, or certain players within that Wigan team, which unfortunately led to them letting their teammates down. But yeah, I think there's still some areas that Wigan need to fix up. I mean, I wouldn't rule them out just yet. They have a knacker coming strong at the back end of the season, so I certainly wouldn't be ruling them out. But Saints at the moment are looking pretty solid at the moment.
Well, that one got the juices flowing. It got even better on Saturday afternoon. An absolute firebrand in the whole derby.
Lawler among the Hull Kingston Rovers tacklers. Sneed bullets to pass to Connor. Over the top to Smith. And Smith is in the corner. Sell. Takarangi over the top this time. Kai Horst in the corner.
Robert Hicks is the linesman over on that side, and you can see he's watching, making sure nothing is wrong with this try. Jimmy Kay does it again on the right side, and that's a try.
Sims looks for the offload, finds an offload as well for Milnes, and just flicks a kick. He's going to chase it himself, and Rowan Milnes with a piece of brilliance. And Sneed on the last tackle. It's touched on brilliantly. Tumavave finds Faraimo, and Beretta Faraimo will sneak in at the corner. Keita, Reynolds, disguised pass for Tumavave, and Tumavave steps on the gas. Takarangi. Oh, Crooks into the line. Crooks through the first, and Crooks over. Sneed. Reynolds. Connor. Nice pass again, and Faraimo is in. Elliot.
You feel that Hull FC is setting up for that drop goal, don't you? You can see Mark Sneed out the back. Here he is. One
Here
point
is Mark Sneed from 30 metres. This could be crucial. It's on target. Still plenty of time to go. Takarangi. Rowan Milnes. Linnett. 4 metres away. Look at this Hull Kingston Rovers response. Set restart as well. Litton and Betty! Albert Betty has the try.
Yeah, full of drama in the whole derby. And these are games that, as Rugby League fans, we absolutely love and live for, aren't they? And all the talk, building it up as rivals round and putting this round of fixtures together, you kind of feel like you're in the lap of the gods, that you're going to get good games. And boy, didn't we?
Oh, look, I'm so glad we got that game. I mean, that really lived up to the name tag of rivals round. Like you said, the build-up to the game was great. I mean, the energy that was there, you could see it, you could feel it from the crowd, from the players. And I thought both teams acquitted themselves really, really well. I thought we saw some fantastic skill on show. We saw some great collisions and contacts in the game. We saw drama, at times a little bit of controversy, but it was just a great game of rugby league football, a great advert and positive reflection on our game. And like I said, I thought, both teams were in with a great shout of winning the game. It was right down to the death there. But I thought it was interesting, Jake Connor, I think he had some telling contributions in that game. I think it was a welcome back for him for that Hull FC side. I thought he was quite pivotal there at times for Hull FC. Mark Sneed with the clutch play, kicking the field goal when it was needed to seal the victory. But again, there were some nice touches there from that Hull KR side. I thought Rowan Milnes showed some good signs out there as well for Hull Kingston Rovers. So I just thought it was just a great game of rugby league football, and one that we needed. Yeah,
absolutely. Elsewhere in the round, a fantastic result for Leeds Centurions, finally up and running, Hendo, 32-22 against the Salford Red Devils. And I think we've said a few times in the season that win would come eventually. It's come at the weekend, and they'll be very pleased regardless of what happens with the rest
Oh,
of the
look,
season, just to have that off their backs.
Absolutely. The League Club will be ecstatic with that. I mean, we know all the things around it. You know, they came into the league late, etc., etc. And yeah, they've had some decent performances, albeit they haven't been competitive enough over the course of the season. We know that, but they've had some couple of results where they've been in. They only narrowly lost to Catlands. They narrowly lost to Hull Kingston Rovers. Narrowly lost to Wigan early in the season. So they've had some games where they've been there or thereabouts, just not quite good enough to get across the line. And I'm just really pleased for their young coach Kurt Haggerty, who's, you know, he's had to really step into the cauldron and take it on, and he's had to deal with a lot of adversity and a lot of chopping and changing and playing, because they didn't have a big squad at the start of the season, so they've been bringing people in on loan, etc. So he's lacked that continuity within his squad, but he's remained positive, he's remained vigilant and resilient, and he's managed to lead his side to a victory. So, you know, pleasing result for the Leigh Centurions Club, and much needed for them. And hey, they may jag another one before the end of the season, who knows?
Castleford 23, Wakefield Trinity 18, and Cass just starting to put a run together and you know, put some form together. Tough times for Wakefield, obviously. Chris Chester departing and Willie Potchy's taking over on an interim basis. So he's a good coach, Willie. He knows the Super League pretty well. I'm sure he'll get them fired up and going for it, but Cass too good on the day. Yeah, look, I mean, obviously, again, there was a lot of emotion around that one, not just due to the fact it was a rivals weekend. They were playing for the Adam Watini Trophy, where Adam Watini was a player for both clubs, and they keep that living in his memory. And so there was some silverware up for stake, and Wakefield would have been full of confidence off the back of defeating us on the Sunday. I think they would have gone in there with fresh ambition and vigour. But I think you rightly say, Castleford for me have been just slowly creeping into some form at the back end of the season. They're making a late surge for the top six, and they may find themselves in there come the end of the season. But it's certainly been a turning point. I think since Michael Shenton, they announced that he obviously suffered that injury, they just seem to have galvanised, and they said that they were, I think they made it openly in the public, that they were going to be doing this for Shenny to finish off strong. So, so far that sort of recipe is working for them, and they're living off the back of that. They're playing some decent stuff. But yeah, it was a good result for Cass in the end. I think there was a little bit of a late scare there. Wakefield, they competed, and they had some good signs in that game and managed to get themselves back into the contest. But yeah, probably left themselves a little bit too much to do in the end. But certainly the effort and the energy was there from Wakefield, but just not quite good enough on the evening. And then before all of that, on Thursday night, Leeds 18, Huddersfield 12, and Huddersfield, one of those sides, every time they look like they're just improving this season, they slip away again, and probably safe to say now that the playoffs are out of reach for them. Yeah, I think that's a fair call, Lewis. I mean, what they have unearthed is a bright new talent in Will Price, haven't they? He's really, excited everybody in Super League with his presence. We know his father, Leon, was a pivotal player in the Super League competition for a number of years. But young Will seems to have stepped in. He's playing with confidence. He's not afraid to take the line on, and I think he's been a breath of fresh air. I think it's also important to note that for Ian Watson, if you look at the last couple of weeks with his playing squad, a lot of his salary cap are on the sidelines at the moment for different reasons, as we know. But the chunk of his what you class as blue chip players are not in the team at this moment in time. So I'm sure he'll be hoping that a few of those guys will be coming back and dripping back into the team in coming weeks to try and finish the season strongly, and obviously build some confidence into next season. Well, a good result for Leeds on Thursday, but before the rugby got going, there was a very special moment at Headingley, as a club legend, Rob Burrow, returned to the place where he wrote his name in Rugby League folklore. Obviously, before his diagnosis with MND, it was his first game back since January 2020.
It feels amazing to be back here in this unbelievable new stadium. Although it looks a completely different stadium, the pitch remains the same, where I enjoyed the best time in my life. The bonds we made and the unity we shared will live with me forever. I just want to say to the best fans in the world, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your underlying support from all the Rugby League family makes without doubt the greatest game in the world. I'm a bit apprehensive about the release, but about being in the public, and again especially where I have so many good memories. I hope people who read my story know they are not fighting their battles alone. I will share many stories how I have had adversity in my career despite the top surface looking all sunshine and rainbows. Finally, my biggest opponent yet. I am determined to live a normal life no matter how debilitating it is. I hope people find it inspirational, and that no matter how it affects me, I will never give in.
Yeah, Hendo, brilliant to see Rob back at Headingley for everything that awful disease has stripped from him.
Yep.
Has not taken away that fantastic smile, has it?
No, you just took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say how great it is to see, even when he came out, he's still smiling. You can still feel the positive energy coming from him. And yeah, look, I mean, it's hard to put into words, isn't it, what that man is going through. But what you do have to admire is his courage, the fact that he is working tirelessly to continue to get exposure for MMD and people to be aware of it and trying to generate, much needed income into the further research. And I just love his attitude of, he's got too many reasons to live. He's certainly not going to die wondering, is he? You know what I mean? He's going to go out there and try and make a difference. He made a difference on the rugby field. He's now trying to make a difference off it and being the best father he can be in these difficult circumstances. And you've got to give credit to his wife as well. What a remarkable job and support that she has been for him and his children. I mean, I couldn't imagine what they're all going through, and it's hard, like you said, put it into words, but you do have to admire the man for how he's handled it, how he's approached this, and the great work that he is doing. He really is a true inspiration, not just to rugby league, but to the greater good of the world. He really is for what he's doing.
Yeah, he's an absolute legend, and our best wishes stay with Rob and his family as he continues that fight against MND. Now, throughout the season on The Last Tackle, we've been looking back at the careers of some of the greats of this game, and this week we're putting the microscope on Martin Afai.
Things that I was doing, I was ahead of my time. I was thinking about creating legacies at the time. I was the youngest of 3 children. I was the least talented of 3 children. I was the person that even my parents were saying I was an uncoordinated buffoon. So I had that all my life. If I'm honest, I put a lot of my success down to myself and thought that I was an overachiever. And I did so much more with the talent that I had, because when I was 14 years old, I couldn't even get into my school 7s team. But something switched on in me, and I said I was going to be the best rugby player that I could be, or I wished it, I dreamed it, I did all these things that psychologists give names to now, like visualization, that establishing a strong enough why, doing all these things. I went to Roslyn Park, they put me in the 5th team. That told me that was no good. So what did I do? I went and scored 5 tries in the 5th team. People to this day still say Martin Afai could play, Martin Afai was only fast, Martin Afai was no good. I had that throughout my career. St Helens directors, supposedly said I was an uncoordinated buffoon and still didn't want to sign me. And apparently Ray French tells a story how he went to speak to Doug Lawton. Doug Lawton didn't know anything about me. He just heard this story about there was this winger down at Roslyn Park, scoring tries, and the rest, they say, is history.
What a magnificent effort from this lad.
When I signed for Widnes, no one gave me a second glance. I've still got this shows you about my mentality. I still have the newspaper on my wall from when I signed for Widnes. It was literally 2 lines. When Jonathan Davis signed for Widnes, it was every single paper. What happened the day that Jonathan Davis signed for Widnes? I scored 5 tries in that game against Salford. So you always keep your thought patterns at that highest level, and you do great good. At Widnes, I probably scored just as many tries as I did at Widnes as I did at Wigan. But Wigan was the bigger stage, and I think I was a better player at Wigan, and so many things. But you look at my stats, it's pretty similar. Around about 140 games played and 180 tries scored, give or take some tries, so over a 10-year body of work. That is incredible. If anyone does that, I just say to you, do that today. Do half of what I did back then. Any winger, mate, you're a millionaire. Guaranteed. If you go to my TikTok, you'll see a try that I scored. I think it was my 400 and something try for Wigan, right? I pick the ball up from a scrum, run 90 meters, pull my hamstring. In that moment, I'm still thinking, I'm gonna score this try, because I know that I want to put this on my highlight reel. I understood the secret of life, and that is adding value to as many people's lives as possible, touching as many people with your performances. And that's what great players do, don't they?
And Martin Fire, one of such a recognisable legend of our sport, and some great memories of years gone by there.
What a great character he is too, isn't he? I mean, again, what he's just shown there in his interview is self-belief. You know, the confidence and self-belief that he had within himself, you know, was remarkable, and that's probably a big part of why he was successful. You know, he saw it, he believed it. And he's gone out there and achieved it, and he's had a remarkable career. And whether anyone will emulate those heights that he achieved in his career, who knows? But like I said, you can't take it away from him. He's a positive character. He's very, you know, like I said, he's got great energy about him. He's got, like I said, great confidence and self-belief. And I'm sure that anybody that watched that interview would be able to pick some pieces out of that to help their careers moving forward if they're playing the game.
Right, Endo, no rest for the wicked, of course. It's a double round this week in the Betfred Super League. Starts off Wednesday, and then we've got 5 more games Thursday before a full round on Monday. And it just feels a little bit like we're going to know a lot more about the playoffs and who's going to be in the mix come Tuesday morning next week. So let's start off Wednesday night. Wigan Warriors against the Leeds Rhinos. And Wigan, after that defeat against Saints, they're up on bricks a little bit with some of the injuries they've got and some of the players missing, but they will want to bounce back.
Yeah, they need to bounce back, don't they? That's the thing. They need to bounce back, and I think Adrian Lamb's come out and he still has confidence in that group that they can achieve something special this year. He's made that pretty public knowledge, and but like I said, it's just a good opportunity for them. They're at home. An opportunity for them to try and fix up a few of the areas that they need to fix up. But they're coming against a Leeds side that, for me, are a dangerous team. You know, they've got aspirations of being in the playoffs. I think they've had a pretty decent season. You know, they've at times been challenged as a group, playing, you know, a lot of games in quick succession, and they've kept fronting up and getting results and getting performances. And I think they've got some players at the moment that are in really good form, in the likes of Cruz Leeming and Brad Dwyer, who are, I think, are two great nines for them at the moment. And and Matt Pry is another one who's really impressed me this season for the Leeds Rhinos. So I think it's going to be a great contest. I think there's a lot of reasons and motivations for both teams to come out and get this result. But like I said, it's going to take a very, very good Wigan performance to overcome a very good Leeds side. But I think it's going to be a great contest.
And then Thursday, Salford Red Devils, Catalan Dragons. Richard Marshall came out and said that the performance against Lee was not good enough from Salford. It's a pretty tough assignment to get back on the wagon for them, though, because obviously Catalan's flying at the top of the league, and they've had all their players signed off as ready to play after that COVID scare. Yeah, well, look, it's going to be a difficult game for Salford, there's no doubt about it, but they need a response. And I think that's what the coach has got to look for there. He's got to look for a response in terms of their attitude and their effort and their commitment to one another. Are they going to be good enough on the night to overcome, a red-hot Catalan side at this moment in time? Who knows? One thing they could maybe pin their hopes on is the fact that Catalans haven't played last week, so has that just knocked their rhythm a little bit? You know what I mean? That'd be something they can maybe look at. But I think, like you said, at the moment, Catalans to me are, they're playing great rugby league football. There's you can see the team cohesion there. I think they will be difficult to beat on Thursday night. But Salford are at home. They are going to hopefully deliver a response and try and make life difficult for the Catalan Dragons on Thursday night. Catalans, of course, won the Challenge Cup a couple of years ago. They're top of the Super League at the moment. They play Salford, of course, on Thursday, and then Lee after that, and then they play St Helens at Magic Weekend. So these next two games could be what leads them to a maiden league leadership. Potentially. Yeah, potentially. If they win their next two games, I think that would not far off be mathematically them finishing top, or certainly top two. Out with this percentage system. Yeah, I'll have to have a look at it myself, because it's difficult to keep up to date with it. But yeah, like you said, I definitely think if they win their next two, it probably secures them a top two finish. That's for sure. So they'll have a week off in the first round of the playoffs, but potentially it may secure their top spot as well, which would be a remarkable achievement for the Catalan Dragons, and great to see that rugby league is expanding and doing well in other areas of the world. And I think it's great for the game if Catalans go on and achieve that. Well, also on Thursday, Huddersfield Giants against your boys, the Warrington Wolves, and you had a week off because of that COVID postponement, Hendo, but you're coming up against a wounded beast in Huddersfield, aren't you? Yeah, look, and like you said, I'm sure that Huddersfield will have a couple of players back in the fold too, which will certainly help them.
And again, they're obviously, a couple of tough performances in recent weeks. They've had some narrow losses, so they'll be looking to put some wrongs right this week. And we always have a tough game against Huddersfield. It always is, and always at the Gow Farm. So we're not expecting anything less, but we're just focusing on what we can control. We need to deliver a response and a performance. Our last outing was quite disappointing away at Wakefield, so there's a lot for us to play for and a lot of motivation from our boys to right the wrongs as well. So we'll see. It should be a good contest.
We spoke about Catalan's running. It's for yourselves, obviously slightly different context, but important to start picking up wins and taking momentum into the postseason.
Absolutely. So you're right. We've got some big games coming up. We've got Saints on the Monday after that, and then Wigan in the Magic weekend. So we've got some good games coming up, which are going to help us in terms of building towards the playoffs, which is good.
And then Hull FC versus Castleford, and this feels for FC like it could go one or two ways.
Yeah.
They're either going to be flying on confidence and be really up for it and play well after that win against Hull KR, or they might just struggle to get themselves to that emotional level they're at.
It's going to be an interesting game, this one, because like you said, I think Hull have, they started the season really well. They've probably been a little bit indifferent recently. I think, like I said, I mentioned before, Jake Connor coming back into the team, I think added something to them on the weekend there against Hull Kingston Rovers. So I think having him in the side certainly helps. But like I said, I think they have been a little bit indifferent and inconsistent in terms of their levels of performance. So I suppose it depends on if they can deliver a consistent team performance this week. I think if they're playing at their best, I think they've got too much for the Tigers. But I think if they've got a few players that aren't quite on their game, and I think the way Castleford are playing at the moment, they seem to have a little bit of resolve at the moment. I know there'll be areas of their game that their coach will want to improve, but they're finding ways to win, and they're playing pretty decent. They're in a bit of a good patch of form at the moment. So I think it's going to be a difficult game for Hull FC, but I do think they've got the ability to win the game, but they're going to have to all be at their best for me if they're going to overcome a Castleford side that's in good form at this moment in time.
It's almost the same question, but in reverse for Hull KR against Wakefield. Obviously, coming into that game on the back of a really close defeat in a derby, but they'll take huge promise and encouragement from the way that they played and have played up until this point.
Absolutely.
They're right in the playoff mix.
Oh, look, I think most Hull Kingston Rovers fans, if they looked at the start of the season and said they were sitting in the top six at this point of the season, they would have taken that. I think, Tony Smith and Danny Maguire and the likes and Hodjo and that have done a great job there this season at Hull Kingston Rovers. I think they've assembled a real good balance within the squad of youth and experience. They seem to have a good understanding and good chemistry. They're playing some really good rugby league football, but ultimately this is a game they have to win. If they've got genuine aspirations of finishing in the top six and being in the playoffs, they have to win this game on the weekend for me. But like I said, you've got a Wakefield side now that have probably just had the shackles released a little bit and got a little bit a little bit fresh lease of life under a new coach. And like I said, they delivered a good performance against us in that first outing, but obviously fell short against Castleford. So, for Wakefield, they're going to be definitely a genuine threat this week at Hull Kingston Rovers. But like I said, I think Rovers, for me, it probably will mean more to them. For me, if they're serious about these playoff aspirations, then they need to get the job done this week.
And then finishing off this round, Lee Centurions will be flying high, of course, after that win. And it is one of those cliches that one brings two. The caveat to that, of course, is that they're playing St Helens.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be a very tough ask for Lee to back up that performance. I mean, that was a big performance from them. They've thrown everything into that game against Salford. They've come away with it, and they've probably enjoyed it too this week, to be honest, and rightly so. I think it may be a bit of an ask for them to go and back that up. But in saying that, I think the coach can give them a little bit of that. Do you know what? Go out there, be free, play footy, go and enjoy it, and see what happens. And I think they won't have that pressure, is what I'm trying to say there. That pressure won't be on them to get back-to-back wins. I think have they got the ability to do it? Of course they have. Every team can beat anyone on their day in the Super League. That's what's great about our competition. But I just think Saints at the moment, the mood that they're in, the way they're playing, I think will be difficult to beat at home. But I think if Lee just play with a bit of freedom and no pressure, anything can happen on the night. So they've got a chance, but I'm not saying it's likely.
So let's just run through those fixtures again quickly. Wigan versus Leeds Rhinos. You've got the Salford Red Devils against the Catalan Dragons. Huddersfield Giants, Warrington Wolves, Hull FC, Castleford Tigers, Hull KR, Wakefield Trinity, and St Helens versus the Lee Centurions, all on Thursday. And a fantastic round of games lined up. We've got a couple of offers for you as well on Wigan versus Leeds. You can have Wigan with a handicap of 2.5. It was 5 to 6. We have pushed that out to even money for Wigan, 2.5 on the handicap. And there's a try scorer double in there as well. Ash Hanley and Zach Hardacre to score any time. Was 4-1. We've pushed that one out to 5-1. Hardacre and Hanley any time, 4-1 out to 5s. And we've got the opportunity for you to win some tickets as well in the Betfred Super League on Monday night. Wakefield versus Leeds. Just head over to our Instagram page, Betfred Official, and get involved for the opportunity to win tickets to Wakefield Trinity versus Leeds on Monday night. Right, so that's the Betfred Super League boxed off for now, Hendo.
Yep.
The Betfred Women's Super League roared back to life with its playoff series at the weekend. And St Helens 32, York City Knights 0, Castleford 6, Leeds Rhinos 28. And very impressive from St Helens. They've had a bit of a layoff with that mid-season break, but they've come back all guns blazing.
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be pretty hard to see past St Helens in this competition this season. They're clearly a cut above the rest of the opposition, I feel. Like I said, they're littered with England internationals, and I think they're running a really good program there. They're the current Challenge Cup holders, and I think they're going to be hard to overturn. I think there's a real determination within that group of women to get the double and win the grand final along with the Challenge Cup this season. So yeah, look, they're playing extremely well. I mean, that's some performance there on the weekend. To win 32-0 against York, who, they're no mugs. They've got some really good quality players in their ranks here, and I know York have got their aspirations. They made some big mid-season signings, and they've been adding to their squad as the season's been going on, but obviously just weren't good enough on the day there in that one.
York, as you said, made some big signings. I think they're going to be in the mix probably over the next couple of years. Castleford have maybe suffered because it's a few of those players that have gone across. Leeds Rhinos, I mean, we've said that Saints are impressive, but Leeds Rhinos continue to be there or thereabouts, and the current woman of steel, Courtney Winfield Hill, returned in fantastic form at the weekend, and they look very strong leading into those playoffs and that grand final, of course, at Headingley. So, Hendo, we are running out of time quickly, but let's have a look at the contenders for this week's Try of the Week vote.
Hello and welcome to the Our League Try of the Week. I'm Dave Woods. Let's have a look at this week's contenders.
So this week's first offering comes from Leeds against Huddersfield. It is actually Ash Handley whose name's on the score sheet, but as you can see, Callum McClellan is the man who makes the magic. Handley's there at the end to finish well. Try 2, another of those oh my word moments from Rugby League. Jimmy Kinehorse, the magician this time. Have a look at that again. Cartwheels, hand down, fantastic stuff. Try 3, Castleford against Wakefield in rivals round. Look at the pass here from Danny Richardson over the top, and it still needs finishing from Greg Eden, and he does very well to do so. Try 4 from the Championship, Featherstone against Dewsbury. Connor Jones with a pick-up and scoot, and off he goes. Have they got him? Have they got him? Yes, they have. No, they've not. He's up again. They've got him again. No, they've not, because he gets over to score a wonderful score. Try 5, Swinton against Bradford. It's scored by LLOYD, and he's certainly involved here in plenty of the build-up with his busting, bamboozling run. It's taken on by Jack Hansen, who's got the wherewithal to put that delicate little chip in, and there is Lloyd again to finish it off. And finally, try number 6, Perry Whiteley for York against Whitehaven. Doesn't look very promising to begin with here, but it's drawing them into a false sense of security. The defence, because when the ball is moved out to down Nicow, that is a fabulous flick that beats 2 defenders and allows Whiteley to score. Get voting for your favourites.
Yeah, some fantastic contenders for Try of the Week this week. Hendo, I thought the Swinton try was superb. Personally,
absolutely.
I love those finishes. That Jimmy Kinehorse one where it's all Dr. Octopus arms and he manages to get his way over in the corner.
Yeah, look, go gadget arms there, wasn't it, in the corner? But yeah, look, I thought there were some great tries on show there. The Kinehorse one, as you mentioned, that's a superb finish. The Swinton one for me is the one that takes the biscuit. I thought some of the offload play there that was going through, and then that nice kick from Hansen for Lloyd to finish was pretty clever. I like the Nicow flick as well to Perry Whiteley for York to finish there off that dropout play. Some superb tries there, some great stuff.
Well, we keep saying it, but the Championship, we mentioned Swinton and York there and Featherstone as well. Great value entertainment again.
Absolutely, and that's coming to a close as well that season. It's going to be interesting to see who makes the playoffs for that competition. Obviously, Featherstone and Toulouse are running away with the competition at 1 and 2 at the moment and look likely to be contesting for the promotion spot. But there's still a lot to play for those other teams to try and push into the playoffs. So, yeah, plenty of good stuff to watch here.
Well, Endo, thank you for joining us. A pleasure, as ever, to have you on. 2 rounds in the Betfred Super League this week. And we're all heading northeast for the Magic Weekend. And it's time for the fog on the Tyne.
Oh, yes!
Absolutely brilliant from Jake Collins.
Austin bursting through the middle. Austin scored.
That's what they can do when everything clicks into place.